We do want to draw your attention to what we're seeing outside of the Capitol in some of America's major cities. Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, has declared that Chicago is now an ICE-free zone. Does he have the authority to do that?
No, he does not. And Section 253 of the Insurrection Act gives the president some great emergency authorities to come in and actually invoke martial law, which you don't want that. That's a really radical solution. But guess what, Mr. Mayor there in Chicago? You don't have the authority to not enforce federal law. And if you're not going to enforce federal law, we have the authority and power to actually make that hurt a little bit. And that means martial law means we're going to start cutting off funding to Chicago. And he needs to know that.
The people of Chicago seem to be doing better after President Trump prioritized their safety. Do you think there's risk for Democrats who resist federal help on things like ICE enforcement or law enforcement if the people living there actually appreciate it, if illegal alien criminals are removed from their communities?
Yeah, I do. I think that there's a political price to pay. I mean, and what it is President Trump is actually giving the citizens of that community the opportunity to say, do you want to continue with these people you voted that don't give a rip about your safety and welfare? Or do you want to have Republican policies that are going to come in and we're going to make sure that you're safe, we're going to follow the law, we're going to enforce the law, and you can get back to your business where you can walk across the street safely, you can hang out with your friends safely, you can take your spouse out and go to dinner or movies safely. Those things, they're really running a risk because it is a night and day dichotomy. And I'm just excited to see it because I think it tells people that's why here in Arizona, we've doubled our gap over Democrats just in the last 6 months. And yeah, we've gone from 4% advantage to an 8% advantage now. And you're seeing it around the country. People are fleeing the Democrats because they're absolutely out of touch with the American people.
There was an important ruling that was handed out west. We had a court indicate that it was unlawful for President Trump to call up the California Guard in the absence of Gavin Newsom's consent to put down these riots that are in Portland. Do you think a governor has the right to not consent to the commander-in-chief calling up the state guard?
Well, that becomes a federalist issue, but the problem is what's the president's authority? He's going to take it because Congress actually delegated some authorities that he could use. What's Gavin Newsom's authority? He doesn't really have any authority. But I would say that you also have a 14th Amendment issue where we've seen this in the past where failure to enforce federal law has resulted in martial law or the National Guard being activated, coming in and imposing the federal law and enforcing it. The most famous, of course, are the civil rights cases of the 60s. But Gavin Newsom basically is holding his own citizens hostage. But I think President Trump has got authority to step over.
It will be interesting to see. One final dispute I wanted to ask you about, not here in our country, but over in Egypt. We've got these talks going right now that are really animated by President Trump laying out this 21-point peace plan for Gaza. Do you hold out hope that this is something that could bring peace to an area that has been soaked in blood since October 7th?
Well, I'm hopeful. I mean, the first step, this is a two-phase plan, right? So the first one is Hamas has to turn over hostages, and they've got 48 according to the Jerusalem Post. But also, and at the same time, Israel's got to stop bombing, and they've got to move back to the yellow line, which is roughly 50% control left back to Gaza or the PA. And so, if that can happen, then I'm hopeful that we can take the next steps. The fact that Iran supports this now, the fact that Qatar supports it, Saudi Arabia supports it, and there's widespread support within the Middle East tells me that this is something that actually may happen. And don't forget, Europe and the EU and many of those states there also support this. So President Trump is once again leading the way in the world. I've said it before, he should have won the Nobel Peace Prize before instead of the peaceniks in Japan. And I love Japan, as you know, but President Trump has done more to try to bring peace to the world than any other international leader probably in a decade.
Arizona Congressman Andy Biggs, and the leading candidate for Arizona governor. Thanks for joining us and sharing your perspective on all these issues. We hope the Senate Democrats come to their senses so that those brave patriots in Arizona and around the country are able to get their paychecks.
Yeah, amen. Thanks, Matt.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.